Okay, so the question of the week is why ask why? So why ask why? Why ask questions? What's the reason for asking questions? Right, so example, your car doesn't work on magic, it has an engine in. Why ask how that engine works? Why try and figure it out? What's the purpose of it?
So in a broader aspect, I think you ask questions to better yourself in a sense of to get a better understanding. So for instance, let's use your car analogy. Your car has an engine. Why? I want to know why, because what makes it drive so I can understand what makes me move.
How would that help you? You're not going to fix the car yourself? Why are you going to ask how the engine works?
So I can't fix the car myself now because I don't know how the engine works.
But you're never going to fix the car yourself.
Okay, but Martin, right?
Yeah, but why are you going to ask how he's going to fix the engine? Or how the engine works?
And I want to know how he's going to fix my engine.
Yeah, but why would you wonder how it works? If you just think
a short answer will be to better myself, to get a broader.
But how do you better yourself?
What do you call it in English? Algemene kennis.
General knowledge.
General knowledge, to broaden my general knowledge.
Do you have something on that, Martin?
Well, I would say if I ask the question why, if something happens, so let's say I'm driving around and my car doesn't start anymore, I take it to the mechanic, he tells me it's a spark plugs or stuff like that, and then I'll ask why does this happen, and then I'll better myself from understanding after something happens.
And if it was Martin's fault not to do it again, do you understand? Why does this happen? Because you start the car with the clutch in, for instance. And then
but we're talking more specifically why would you want to figure out how the pistons hit the sides and petrol pits pumped in? And
well, honestly, I won't.
Yeah, same.
But in where your
so you wouldn't.
No, in where your question is heading, I would ask those sorts of questions just to not look like an idiot when I get to the next mechanic, so I can understand more and more about that topic.
That's a very good. So it's basically one of the answers would be to at least be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you might not be able to fix the engine, but if the first mechanic tells you, hey, listen here, your pistons is broken, and the second one tells you, well, your transmission, you can at least go, whoa, but the previous guy said this, and you at least have a relative idea.
A reference point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not curious about how your car works. You just magic and then.
Well, it's hard for me now because I'm busy rebuilding a car. So now I ask those questions. But it's because where's my money going at this stage? Because we're literally rebuilding my car. So I'll ask him, Dennis, how much for this part? And he'll explain to me, so for instance, don't replace this, it's still good, but let's not mess with this. We have to replace this because if that goes, it's a nightmare. And then I'll learn. But
it's because of your interest.
Yes, that's what I mean. But before that, I would also ask, for instance, Tian is a programmer and he'll ask me a stupid question like input, output, what is it? And then I'll guess because I want to learn. So next time you and Martin speak, I've got a reference point. So I think that's the most accurate answer for me so far. There's a huge attacking me, but yes.
And so I'm not sure about a car as much, but you kind of touched on the part of it's also the knowledge is generally applicable to other fields as well.
Yeah.
So if you know how a car engine works and you hear about SpaceX, you might be like, oh, well, I at least understand the concept of changing chemical industry into kinetic energy. I think it's kinetic.
Well,
right, with the Princeton shooting. So you can kind of move it over to understand how a rocket
but
works. That might be some
knowledge. The broader your general knowledge, the better you're going to do in a conversation you know nothing about because you have reference point to draw from. So a stupid example, you're a programmer. I know you are good at it, but your programming skills will help you with Excel because it's an easier program. Now, if I explain to you something like the mining industry where we're in, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I can see you want that input there because you understand programming. So you don't have to know my program or my line of work.
But are you guys the kind of guys that think math on high school was a waste of time.
No, but I don't think you use the math of high school in life. I think it's good for your brain to get you thinking in the right directions. But I don't think, like, for instance, the exact math they teach you, yeah, I think it's a waste of time.
You think it's?
I've never used it.
You've never used it, but you think it's good for training your mind?
Yeah. To get you to broaden and to understand general numbers and to open up to it. But I don't think, like, for instance, I don't know in English. I'm sorry, because you put me on the spot. We didn't prepare for the episode. But what do you call it? Tan and all those stuff. It's the same.
Yeah.
But I've never used it. Of course, in sun, and I've never used it again.
So it depends what profession you go.
Exactly. So for me personally, math was not a waste of time because it got my brain to expand and understand more of numbers. But the actual stuff they use, I think, can be better for life after school.
So you never found the reason for X?
Sorry, what, Martin?
So you never found the reason for X in life?
Dude, I've got so many X's and I still don't know.
So that's actually one of my, like...
so X, just to that example, is good because it made you understand that X can be any number. So for instance, if you... I won't say programming now, but if you do a business plan, you can say X, an amount, and it makes you understand, whatever the amount will be in there. So, I mean, if you didn't have it in high school, you wouldn't have known it. You'd be like, what's X? What's X? So
I also think it's like you said, started with actually where it's like it's good practice. So if you're good at math, you're probably going to be able to solve a problem like your relationship, a something completely different field by going like, okay, well, let's look at the elements that I have. I've got this number, I've got this and this. I don't know this, and you can shuffle around to try and figure it out.
That's what I mean.
So when somebody makes a mistake, I'm trying to. I absolutely never ever made any mistakes.
Okay.
The first thing you ask them, like in Dota is a good example. The first thing you ask them is why. Why did you do that? And why do you ask him why as a first?
So there it'll be to make him understand what a retard or idiot he was in that sense of case.
But why are you asking why?
No, that's what I mean. So the why is not asking him for an answer. It's like to determine if he knows why. So for instance, you run in front of a car. I go, why? Not because are you committing suicide? I'm just like, why are you dumb? Why?
Okay, but when your child does something he's not supposed to, why do you ask? You generally start with, why would you take the mouse and put it in the fishbowl?
Because if he answers you, if he says, because Dad, you play too much games, then you're like, valid point. But if he goes, I don't know, to rip him on.
Well, I don't
know, because I ask it quite a lot.
So I think, on the games in general, you don't actually want the people to answer. Like, you already have the answer for him. So you ask him, why would you do that? Why would you build that item? And you already have the correct answer for him. So whatever he says, you're going to probably block it out. But the correct thing is you ask him, okay, explain to me your thought pattern. And he's going to say, like a child with the mouse, he'll be like, okay, well, I thought the fish...
At the table, your mic making noise.
Sorry. Your son would explain to you, like, okay, so the fish wants to play on the computer, so I took the mouse, and then you go like, oh, okay, the way to fix this is I'm going to explain to you, fish cannot use the computer. So, or it could be, his answer could be,
I don't think you're looking for attention if your child is trying to control the fish with your mouth.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, now I'm getting
it. So you ask why to be able to understand what the other person was thinking, in order so you can correct it, so you can relate to them.
So there's two parts, if I understand correctly. One is I have the answer, and I want to make sure before I dump it on your head that you know, like the Dota example. And the other one is you're asking your child why to see his reason of thinking.
Yeah.
Am I right with, is that what you're
Well, you're trying to, because in order to fix or to have a discussion, you need to understand at least where he is with this conversation. Where is he with his thing? Okay, and... Peace.